Hey, we have on the board this problem. We have the square root of 196 minus the square root of 195. And I think this is one of those no calculator problems. We could pull out a calculator and get a nice answer for this, or we could estimate a solution for this. But what we want to do is we want to try to reduce this to some kind of nice expression. Now, I've been seeing a lot of problems like this on YouTube, but there's one important difference with this problem that I wanted to talk about. 196, I think if you went through YouTube and you looked for all the examples of this kind of problem, it seems like every single one is an odd number. And I think the reason for that is if this is an odd number, it comes out a lot cleaner. With an even number, it's going to be just a little bit more work. Okay, for my first step, I'm just going to notice that 196 is a perfect square. So 196 is actually 14 squared. So I can rewrite this, because we're inside the square root, we can write this as 14 minus 195. And the way I like to approach this is I want a perfect square in here in order to reduce this. And you could try different things, but what I find works is if we kind of look at this form, okay, if we assume that our 14 minus 195 is something of this form, that if we square it out, it gives us this, then we've got a nice way, because this is a perfect square inside the radical, this would give us a good path to our solution. Now, if we multiply this out, we just square this out, we're gonna have a plus b minus 2 square root of ab. And then I kind of like to put this next to what we have here, just to kind of look side by side. Then looking at it this way, we're saying we want a plus b to equal 14. That's fine, there's a bunch of different ways we could do that. Now the trouble I have is we don't have a 2 here. We really need this 2. We could try to equate ab to 195, but without that 2, we have a problem. What you can do a lot of times, if inside this radical, the 195, if this is a multiple of 4, okay, the square root of 4 is 2, and then you can pull a 2 out. Well, you can verify it, but 195 is clearly not a multiple of 4. We can do the factorization of 195, and it's going to be, 5 times 3 times 13. So notice we've got no factor of 4 there. And so what I do in this case actually is I just create that 2. So we have our 14 minus square root of 195. And what I'm going to do is we'll just multiply by a 2 here and divide by a 2. I do that so we're just multiplying by 1 and we're not changing it. But let me make the radical a little bit longer just so we're clear that this is all under the radical. Then when I distribute that inside here, then we're going to have 28 minus 2 square root of 195. But then just to kind of make this clear, I want to separate this square root of 2 so we're not worried about that in our factorization. We'll just leave that alone. And then what we can do is write it this way. And now we can try to line up this, our a plus b. We can try to line this up with what's inside here. So what we're saying now is we want a plus b not to equal 14, but we want our a plus b to equal 28, which we have right there. We have our 2 now, and we want a times b to equal 195. At this point, we have 2 equations and 2 unknowns, and we could kind of do all of our normal algebra to try to figure out a and b. But I like to do these kind of more informally and kind of look at, we've got a pretty basic factorization here. Well, I can just write 195 as 15 times 13, and then we can just call a 15 and we can call b 13. So then we notice that our a plus b is 15 plus 13, which equals 28. So that works. So what that's going to allow me to do is rewrite this now. So we have our square root. Inside we're going to have this thing all squared, but so our square root of a is going to be square root of 15, and then our square root of b is going to be square root of 13. And this is going to be all over square root of 2. And then now when we take our square root here, we can cancel this. Now technically this should give us an absolute value on this, but clearly this original expression is greater than 0, right? Clearly this is a positive number with the 196 greater than 195. So we want to set it up where this is positive. So I use the square root of 15 minus square root of 13 and not the other way. So when we take this square root, we're going to end up with square root of 15 minus square root of 13 over square root of 2. And if you want to put these together, you could write this as 15 over 2 minus square root of 13 over 2. And like I said, I think that's why you see this less. It's not quite as nice as if you had, square root of 3 minus square root of 2 or something. So anyway, that's going to be our solution. That's it. Thanks for watching today. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day.